Well, the rain is still coming down, and I'm sitting here watching it fall. It's been a day since the last post, and I've been stuck here thanks to the burning rain. I've been enjoying your comments, sparingly of course, since I don't want to kill my phone, but this morning I found something to occupy my time besides watching the raindrops. I had completely forgotten about the other journal until today, but I found it again when I was looking for supplies in my bag. Somewhere between a bag of crushed chips and a honey bun, I found the smaller journal that I had found in Celine's journal. It was little more than a battered notebook, and it looked like it had been through hell. I still had Celine's journal in the front pocket. I was still hoping to show it to Gail, but I'd almost forgotten about this one. I didn't have much else to do, so I cracked it open and started reading. When I was done, I felt that the info was worth a little battery power to share. The journal is from Jasper, another victim traveler through the Dollar General beyond. Jasper, unlike the rest of us, wasn't looking for a way out. Jasper was looking for someone I had read about before. Jasper was looking for his grandson, Jacob. January 10th, 1991. That date is just a guess, but it's the best guess I have. Jacob and I had been stuck inside the Dollar General Beyond for the last 4 days. It all started because I had to use the bathroom. Jacob didn't want to come with me. He was a big boy and too old to go to the bathroom with his pawpaw, but 5 years old isn't really a safe age to just leave him outside while I do my business. So we stepped in and, to our surprise, stepped back out into another Dollar General. I thought I might be having a senior moment for a second, but when we turned around and walked back through the door, we were in a Dollar General again, instead of a bathroom. We found the doors locked and couldn't get anyone to help us, so we made ourselves comfortable until they opened the next day. None of the food packages were in a language I could read, but the food eats okay, and we didn't imagine we would be here longer than a night. After 4 days, I have to believe we've slipped into some kind of Twilight Zone place. Jacob thought it was funny when I told him we were stuck here, but I started to notice that the food doesn't replenish itself. Jacob is building models and coloring, but the more I observe, the more I'm worried that we might starve here. I keep hoping we'll wake up and find that everything's back to normal, but the longer it goes on, the less hope I have. The story was a familiar one at first. Jasper tested the place they were in, looking for a way out, and Jacob kept busy with toys and things. The two were fine at first, but I could definitely sympathize with Jasper when he talked about food eventually running out. When I didn't know how the place worked, I had obsessed over how much food I would have before I ran out, and I knew how that weighed on a person. They stayed in the DGB for about a week and a half before the entries changed, and it all seemed to kick off with the disappearance of Jacob. January 20th. Jacob's gone. I woke up and he's nowhere to be found. I've looked everywhere, every conceivable place, but I can't find him. I'm frantic, looking under every shelf and behind every box, but my grandson is just gone. I don't understand where he went or how he could have left. The doors never open and no one ever comes or goes, but I do seem to recall something from the night before, the longer I think about it. It was something almost out of a dream, something half-remembered, but I think it might be a memory. If it is, then I know what I have to do, but I don't really understand how to go about it. Jacob woke up saying he needed to go to the bathroom, and I rolled over without thinking about it. Is it possible that he went through the bathroom door and crossed somewhere else like we did when we got here? It looks like I'll have to find out. I looked up as a loud rumble sent flashes through the sky. It had been raining for a little while, but this was the first time I had seen lightning. I didn't know if it signified anything, but it didn't seem to be affecting the rain at all, so I went back to reading. Threw a little more kindling on the fire, the red stalks burning nicely, and went back to the journal. It appeared that Jasper had begun traveling as he searched for his grandson. January 21st. Still no sign of Jacob. I've been to 3 different stores and I can't find him. I did notice that in the stores I came to, some items were missing that he likes to eat, so maybe he moved on after eating a little. He's only 4. I don't know what he's thinking. Maybe he's panicking after going through and he doesn't understand or something. I don't know, but I wish he would stop. I'm so worried about him, and it's not good for my condition. I'm kind of hoping to find one of these stores with a pharmacy in it, because as it stands, I have enough pills to last me a few weeks, but that's it. I have to figure something out in the meantime. The journaling helps, but it's the only thing I have sometimes that tethers me to the present. I need my meds. I need Jacob, or I might have bigger problems than being stuck. Pills. I wondered what pills he was talking about, but I also wondered how he kept his journal on him while he traveled. Did he have some sort of innate ability? Maybe, as I guessed from the talk of pills, he had some sort of altered mental state that made his travel possible. Either way, it was interesting to read about it from someone else's point of view. I had enjoyed hearing Celine talk about her journey, and hearing from this old guy now kind of made it even cooler. January 24th, I think. I've been traveling non-stop, trying to catch up to Jacob. I don't know how this works, but I haven't seen any sign of him for a while. The last time I went, I just collapsed in a store, and thank goodness it was a safe one. I went to one yesterday that was a cave, and I found a creature living in it that almost got me. Thankfully, it isn't very quick, or I'd have been a dead old man. I know that Jacob is out there, however. I will find him, hopefully before it's too late. He wrote a lot, and I realized that he traveled farther than Celine or I had. He talked about stores both familiar and stores that I'd never even dreamed of. He saw a Dollar General that was in a forest. The animals there wearing little vests and stocking shelves with products brought in by birds. He talked about a store where the products tried to bite you and seemed hostile. He talked about encountering miasmas of his own and how terrified he was that Jacob might have run across one of them. And all the while I began to fear for his mental state. His writing got less and less coherent as he went, and I wondered what was going on with him. Then I turned a page, and a label fell out that resolved one particular mystery. He had abandoned the dates by this point, but I could understand that. It was hard to tell dates and days when you were traveling, but he laid the label in here like a bookmark. Maybe he was afraid of losing it. Maybe he just wanted to save the page. I don't know, but what followed was enlightening. I ran out of meds today. Doesn't seem to matter. They weren't helping. I need to find Jack, but I can't find any sign of him at all. Was it Jack I was looking for? I think so. He's just a little guy. He's going into the 3rd grade. I need to find him before his Cub Scout meeting starts. I don't know where I am, but it seems like I've been here long enough that it's hard to remember where I was going or where I've been. The journal helps sometimes. Reading it now, it seems like I'm looking for Jacob, not Jack. Jack is my son. Jack has grown up, not a little kid. Jacob is Jack's son, my grandson, and he's lost. I'll sleep now, but I need to find him soon. I picked up the label that had fluttered out, and it turned out to be from a pill bottle. Doneprazil was not a name I was familiar with, but the instructions were for the treatment of dementia symptoms. That explained a lot. If the hermit had been suffering from dementia, then maybe his state had deteriorated over time and he had become feral. Traveling couldn't cure him, but it could help prevent the dementia from killing him. There was still so much about this place I didn't understand, but the longer I stayed here, the more I felt I could handle it. I kept reading, but it got bleaker the longer it went on. Today I found a store where it snowed inside. There were snowmen wearing vests. They tried to get me, but I ran. No sign of Jacob. Today I saw a store full of water, but I could breathe the water. It was fun, but still no Jacob. Found a store made of candy. Jack would have liked it. Where did he go? I could have swore he was with me when I got here. The book was full of little messages like that, just quick asides about where he was going and what was there. I made some notes in my own journal, jotting down stores to look out for in the future, if I ever got back inside. I think I will, but it's just a feeling. I didn't think I could get out until a few days ago, but here I am, in the outside. I kept turning pages and reading passages, but it wasn't until I saw something about going back that I stopped and read what he'd written. It was the most coherent his writing had been in a while, and it gave me hope that maybe he had found his meds. False hope, in the end, though. Back home, back where it all began. It started when I traveled somewhere I probably shouldn't have. I don't know how long I've been moving or how long I've been traveling, but I came across something terrible today. It was so bad that I may never travel again, even if it means that Jacob is lost to me forever. Today I found the end of the stores. At least I think so. I've been moving quickly between stores, feeling my mental stability eroding like a stone in a river. I'm afraid that, journal or not, eventually I won't be able to remember anything. Jacob, Jack, Rose, my house, my time in the army, everything would be gone, and I would just be a husk of myself. I keep going, not having any goal in mind, and eventually I found something I shouldn't have. I left a perfectly normal Dollar General, the only real difference being that all the products were written in a weird language and came out onto a plane of perfect darkness. The floor floated like the tiles were levitating, and they glowed like a kid's nightlight. Between the tiles were nothing but darkness. Above me was nothing but darkness, and amidst the shelves of rock and weird fungi, I saw a multi-faced crystal that hung above the floor. It was green, an emerald diamond with so many faces that it made me dizzy, and I knew that I had to get back. It was important, too important to just leave here, but I have no idea how I knew that. When I walked towards it, though, I saw something moving in the darkness and realized I wasn't alone. It's hard to wrap my brain around, but the darkness there was so deep, so perfect, that the black creatures I'd seen coming out of the ceiling sometimes looked like purple clouds next to it. They moved around in red-eyed patrol, their heads moving fitfully to take in everything, and they were so big that I couldn't understand it. I went to the Empire State Building once when I was younger, right before I went to basic, and the smallest of them was bigger than it. The eyes swam in the sky like meteors, and before I had taken a single step, I was filled with an intense fear. I took a step back towards the door, and when I did, I remembered something I hadn't thought about in a long time. I remembered Jacob building things with Legos. He built little cities and buses, whole landscapes of bricks, and then he pretended to be a giant as he destroyed them with big comical footsteps. Looking up at these things, I felt like what that must have been like when the little people saw him as he boomed over them. And when I stepped back through the door, I came out in the store we had left. I don't know how I did it. Maybe it's something you can only do when you come to the end. Either way, I think my traveling days are done. I don't know where Jacob is. I don't know what's become of him, but when I stand before that door and think about leaving, all I see are those towering creatures that lived in that dark place, and I lose my nerve. I don't know what I'll do, but I know that it will have to be from here, from now on. There were a few more entries that I could read, but most of it was unintelligible after a while. He drew pictures sometimes, but sometimes it was just streaks and half words and weird knot sentences. His mental state fell apart after a few weeks or months or however long, and eventually he just stopped using the journal at all. Who knows how long he had been here, but I know how he had ended, and I thought now that it might have been a mercy. The old hermit, Jasper, probably would have thanked us for ending his suffering. Or maybe he wouldn't have. Who's to say? At some point while I was reading, it seems the rain has stopped. I'm going to catch some Z's and then keep moving. I'll update you next time, my friends on the other side. Until then, keep your eyes peeled for strange bathrooms in stranger retail chains. See ya. You're still here. Thanks so much for joining us for tonight's spooky tale. If you'd like a little bit more spooky in your life, why not click on one of the videos that appears at the end of our story? Or maybe head on over to one of our playlists where you can get your fill of spooky content. If you like your spooky a little more tactile, I've got a new book that's come out. If you'd like your own copy, there's a link below in the description where you can get your own copy of my spooky book. If you like what you see here on the channel and think you might like to support in a more monetized way, then why not come over to Patreon or become a member on YouTube? Speaking of, let's go ahead and thank our members now. Thanks to Civ Garstad and Unicorn Hollow for being our spooky ghost contributors. Thanks to Janet, Lee Kendall, Saikat, Ronda J, Sue Casper, and Valinator for being our spooky skeleton tier contributors. And thanks to Hi Stacy, Winter, Xaronan, Stephanie Carrington, Tyler Parker, Cinnamon Fox, Sarah ASMR42, Grim Reaper, and TomBoiTopUwU for being our Ghostly Reader tier contributors. And a special thanks to Grim Reaper, who appears to have subscribed not just on YouTube, but also on my Patreon. Thanks, everyone. We just couldn't do the show without you, and your support is always appreciated. If you'd like to support the channel, then come on down to Patreon, or become a member on YouTube. Spooky Skeleton tier contributors, that's our $5 tier, get their spooky 12 hours early, at 8:30 a.m., as opposed to 8:30 p.m., my time, of course. And while Ghostly Reading is only a tier that's available on Patreon, you get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one, on your doorstep in, hopefully, a timely manner. If you'd like a book, we have many on Amazon. I've got links below if you'd like to follow those. Should get you to my page so you can buy any one of my 8 books I believe we're up to now. I'm sure they'd look really nice on your shelf, and I'll sign them for you if you can find me out in the wild. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.